After the accident,
I was stuck paying all these medical bills.
The Witherspoon Law Group understands that you didn't deserve what happened to you, but you do deserve justice.
They weren't just there for me, they fought for me.
I care about what my clients are going through. We are in the fight of their lives.
We don't just fight for you, we fight with you and make sure you get the compensation you deserve.
And that's why we do what we do. And what we do is win.
Call 844-WE-WIN-44.
Welcome to this week of Iris in the City. I am so happy to be here. And remember, we are still in our campaign of Check Yourself. Go back and listen to last week with Dr. Debbie Fowler, all about breast cancer and her journey and the different tests that we can take. But this week we will be checking ourselves with the business model himself, Mr. David C. Williams. So without further ado, I don't have much to say. I want to hear from you. Join me in welcoming the business model himself, David C. Williams.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Iris.
Welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day to talk with us. And as we can see from logging on, you're the type of man that's going to let nothing stop you. And I want you to spill that over to us today. We need that out on the Iris in the City. We had a few complications, and David said nothing is going to defeat us.
No, not at all.
And I sat back, and without further ado, here he is, Mr. David C. Williams.
Yeah, look. You know, what's funny is that, and I know this, I don't know if this is where you want to take things, but when I think about that, I feel like when things are going wrong, that's really God opening up the HOV lane for me, because so many things in my life were not an easy road to get there. And a lot of it was out of my control. But I feel like adversity is really just the door to opportunity. And so the first chapter of the book, the business model, the book, it talks about how all Rudolph needed was one foggy night and Christmas would never be the same. That's like something I live and believe in. That's not just a tagline or a slogan. And so even this morning when we were trying to get this, get the video going and everything and all the technical issues that were going on, is totally outside of everyone's control. You know, I feel like that's God just opening up the HOV lane for me and saying, this is your path, let's go.
Let's go. That's right.
I lean forward into it. Yeah.
Nothing was going to stop us. We know we have some powerful that you need to give us a strong word and tell us a little bit more about. Let's back it up, because I am very excited for you to share some points in your book.
Sure. But
let's just back it up and tell us a little bit about yourself and the different works that you've done leading up to this book.
So David Williams, I'm a native of Dallas. I come from South Dallas, which is arguably the poorest corner of the city. I had some hardships early on. My father committed suicide when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I made it through a number of hardships, and today I'm an assistant vice president of AT&T. I lead an automation organization. We have the largest robotics process automation program worldwide. I have an extremely diverse team of women, people of color, that I promoted and pulled into the organization. And because of our diversity, we drive absolutely insane results, like 5,000% ROI type results. These are people that don't come from traditional technology backgrounds, but I believe we all believe that no matter, and don't get me wrong, I have some PhDs and NEOs and wizards on the team as well, but we all believe, every last one of us believes, from the most technical to the least technical, that our greatest strength is each other. And so when you have a culture like that, there's absolutely nothing you can't do. And there's just a ton of things that I've learned over my lifetime, things that didn't go right, where I was able to glean some type of lesson from it that I've added to who I am. And that's brought me to where I am today. And so I lead a bunch of, solar robot workshops, a lot of workshops in underserved neighborhoods. and actually globally now, but underserved neighborhoods, so that kids can see that, look, small ideas are still bright ideas. I don't care where you come from. That ingenuity that you have, that Big Mama's teaching you, that dollar out of 50 cents, that's worth, a dollar out of 15 cents is literally a 600% ROI. So many of us lived under Big Mama's roof, under Mama's roof, under Daddy's roof, watching these things happen. We live with that. That's a transferable skill, but often we go to work and we leave that in the parking lot and we go into the job. I subscribe to bring that with you. And so the people on
I
my
subscribe to that as well. Everything in my upbringing, I take along with me in my journey, in my career, and it leads to a stronger foundation. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So not only are you the man at AT&T, Mr. Vice President, come on, Mr. Vice President. So you speak to working in diversity and inclusiveness, and I love that you're taking those programs into the communities where they wouldn't normally see those things.
Yeah,
Look, what got you involved? Because you don't hear many African American men being involved in like the science and the robots and anything that pertains to math and critical thinking. So how did you get involved with that?
Probably a couple of things. I think at some point, my parents realized that I was creative and they encouraged that. Even my father, before he died, he would have me at the library, and reading an extra book every time I would go check out books. And so they encouraged my creativity. Me, I was just crazy enough to really believe in that Toys R Us commercial that I don't ever want to grow up. I'm going to be a kid the rest of my life. And so I've held on to that creativity. You couple that with coming from a place where you got to meet, where you have to make ends meet, and what you get is creativity along with a problem-solving skill that you learn. Well, learning how to solve problems, technology is just a means to that end. So when I started working at AT&T, you know how it is when you learn a job, you focus on it, but at a certain point, you learn how to do that job with one hand, with your eyes closed. Well, with the other hand, I figured out how to make the job easier. And once I figured out for myself, I'd share that with the whole team, and the whole team would be better. And then I just kept doing it. I started small and I just never stopped being a kid, being creative and solving problems. And over time, the technology just became a means to an end. And, again, I love math. So the critical thinking part was natural for me. And, you mix all that together and you got a guy from South Dallas that's solving pandemics.
Killing it. A guy from South Dallas killing it in the community, in the corporate world. Just the atmosphere looking at this video is amazing. The kids are engaged. That's just amazing. And it looks like they're, getting activities hands-on. Are they able to take them away? Let's talk about when you go into the schools, what happens on the days that you actually go into the schools.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I absolutely love it. So, we have these solar robot workshops, and there's a few things to that. So one, we talk about, when was solar energy discovered? Who invented solar panels? When was that done? We also talk about, how the solar panels work, the actual photovoltaic cells, and how the electricity gets generated, et cetera, et cetera. Then we get into breaking into teams. There's team building skills that they learn how to collaborate. Someone's working on the wheels, someone's working on suspension, someone's working on the panels. So there's a race in building the robots. Then once that's done, we race the robots against each other. That's always fun. The kids love that. And we stop and say, okay, well, what can we do to make these robots go faster? When they start talking about taking things off, gravity, weight, friction, Newton's second law. At the end of it, they're realizing how much they've learned over having this much fun. But when we get into that part of the workshop, we stop and I have a question with them or a point with them that says, look, the ideas you guys are coming up with right now are small ideas to make one robot beat another. Me in your seat at your age, my small idea was selling candy so I could buy lunch.
Hmm.
Now, if I was selling candy to buy lunch and wound up winning an Engineer of the Year awards and all this other stuff, then surely you working with these robots have a chance to go much further than I. And so that's the point of the entire workshop, is that small ideas are bright ideas. You have we call it a tech mentor because we talk about the tech side, but we also talk about the mentoring side, which is here.
Okay.
I want you to understand where I come from and how I overcame adversity. And you guys are no different than me. You could do it and do it better.
Wow, let's get that book up on the screen with that QR code. If you like me, you're gonna get your phone out and beep. There we go. Get your copy today, because I'm sure it's so many gems in this book.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into just a few of them. We don't want to hold you, but I could talk to you all day, honestly, because I'm still at awe with the engineering, the program in the school, and running a company, and still find time to write a book to mentor and coach others. Because if it's a mentoring program out there, I promise you, I'm signing up today for myself. So let's talk about this book and what we can expect to get out of it if it's purchased. And
Sure.
What programs do you offer business owners or leaders in the community that's looking to stay inspired so that they can keep building strong teams?
Yeah. So last year, I started writing a book, and I'll tell you something that's, I don't want to say it's ironic. It's more of providence than coincidence. But I wrote a book, and the book is called Business Model. The thesis of the book is exactly what we've been talking about: combining your past experiences with your professional passion creates your own unique business model for success. And we took that picture on September 11th, 2021, last year. Took that picture at 8:27 in the morning. That's exactly 20 years from when the first plane was hijacked.
Wow.
This year, September 11th, 2022, about the same time, 8:20, 8:40 in the morning, I got a text from the book publisher that said the book had went #1 in 8 categories on Amazon and bestseller.
Okay,
So,
well, yesterday's prices are not today's prices. I am grateful for the interview. I'm gonna grab my copy of that book before the price go up some more. Where can we follow you? Do we have your social medias?
Yes, I do. Yeah. The book, you can purchase the book at businessmodelbook.com. You can find me on Instagram at David Chris Global, and I'm on LinkedIn at David C. Williams. So that's
That is amazing. That is amazing. Okay, so I do have one question myself.
All right.
The book is called The Business Model, and you standing there like a real model. I mean, are you engineer model engineer, model first? Like, give us some story, the background on the model part.
All right. Well, I mean, look, again, this is more providence than coincidence. So when I'm writing the book, thinking about the book, right, and what the thesis of it was, and calling it business model, the term is such a key term to all forms of business. And so that was what drove that. Then we started thinking about, okay, how do we visualize that? Well, we could do a double entendre where we're talking about a business model, but I could portray modeling as a model myself. And so that was, thanks to a lot of Photoshop and all this other stuff, we pulled all that together.
No Photoshop there, ladies. No Photoshop there.
What's crazy again, September 11th this year, the book went #1 bestseller, on Amazon in 8 categories. But I was in New York on September the 11th when that happened. They had a fashion week. New York has fashion week that week. And so we were there promoting the book. Again, a play on words: business model, fashion week. Business model,
walking through fashion week, being the business model. Come on.
I partnered with some fashion shows. It was great. It was just divine. I mean, I'm in New York. It's fashion week. I'm partnering with fashion shows. I get a text Sunday morning that the book went #1 in 8 categories. And then let me put this last little piece.
Let's tell Terry, Miss Terry, we would definitely put in the comments all the information where you can find the Facebook, where you can follow him. We will make sure that it is in the comments for you, because we want you to get this book and we want you to learn all about the business model.
You know, I want to say one other thing. So my sister, her birthday is September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, just before I did the thing that enabled 40,000 people to work from home during the pandemic, my sister had been diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
And it's the same cancer that got Steve Jobs and Aretha Franklin, NETs. And so she was miraculously healed. She had 40 tumors. They were miraculously healed. Didn't even need chemo. I mean, this is a true miracle. And so it just, again, it all comes together much larger than myself, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, and so I'm just grateful for how things have really played out. But I couldn't have wrote this story if I tried to. I mean, my sister, who's healed from cancer, the day after her birthday was when I took this picture. A year later, it goes #1 on Amazon. I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm grateful for all of it. It's a blessing.
Well, I am grateful to just have this conversation, because when you in the room atmosphere virtually in the around greatness can't do nothing but spill over. So I'm just going to soak in everything that you have to give out today. Now, when we talk about the business model, just give us, we're on our way out. I know we can't hold them long. This man is busy, but we have tons of questions. But when you talk about the business model, and we are talking about checking ourselves financially, mentally, and emotionally in this fourth quarter. I'm a sports girl, so I do everything in quarters. So I'm looking at October like it's fourth quarter.
Right.
This is where I said I want to be. This is where I actually am. So I know what I would normally do to try to, make sure that I reach those goals. But what few tips can you give people to refocus on their business and reaching goals as, we come to the year-end stretch?
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. So one is, look, many of us have been through some tough times, right? That Rudolph foggy night, right? We've all been in situations where the next step wasn't clear, or it was a dark day, right? And having the courage to absorb that and not just bury that thing that you went through, that tribulation, that trial you went through, but having the courage to extract the lesson from it and then leverage that lesson as a tool so that you're more equipped for the next step that you got to take. I think that's huge in what I feel is the business model, because we've all been through so many things that if we really look back at it, look, we're equipped for this. It's almost like that movie, The Italian Job. Like, we're ready for this, right? There's nothing in our way. If everyone just takes a moment to look back at their own life, everything that was sent to stop you and destroy you or kill you, all of it, I mean, you're 100%. You're batting 1,000. None of it stops you. Maybe it delays you. Maybe it slows you down, but you're still here, right? All of us right now, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you've survived the pandemic, literally.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. And so I think understanding that and having that courage, because the greatest things in life are on the other side of fear. And you got to be willing to cross that lake of fear. You cannot take doubt with you. You got to step into it boldly. I think those are some things that, for me, when I think about the business model, are most important. If there's one last thing I'd say is this. We talk about generational wealth. And often when people talk about that, they think about dollar signs. I was in India, and that topic came up. In India, they think about it a little different. They say that there are 5 generational wealths: wealth of the mind, wealth of the household and the family, financial wealth, health wealth, and spiritual wealth. And so if you're not well mentally of the mind, right, we all know what that can do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
If you accumulate wealth, but you don't trust the people around you, your family and so forth, how many generations is that wealth going to last? We all know what financial wealth is, and everybody's trying to attain it. Health wealth is important. If you don't have very good health, your kids don't. How short are those generations? Right. And then spiritual wealth, look, a moral compass is important. Sometimes you hear today that, you get what you negotiate, not what you deserve. Some people believe in that a little too much, and they bend the lines in their morality. And so therefore, karma is going to always come back and have the last say. And so there's 5 wealths when we think about generational wealth, and we shouldn't circumvent 4 for one. And so if we're going to go achieve wealth, let's think about it in a balanced way.
Yes, and let's say that again. It's 5. Say that one more time for the people in the back.
Yeah, there are 5 generational wealths: wealth of the mind, wealth of the household and the family, financial wealth, health wealth, and spiritual wealth.
And we are not compromising. We're not compromising 1 for 4 or 4
That's
for
right.
1.
That's right.
We want it all.
We get them all.
Now we're going to end on that note, because I just want that to simmer in everybody's spirit that have joined in to watch us on this week of Iris in the City. Please scan the QR code, purchase your copy. Do you offer any coaching or mentoring outside of the children in the schools? Do you offer it for adult clients? How do you do any of that?
Yeah. Look, you can reach out to me. I'm easy to find. I'm David at davidcwilliamsinc.com.
Okay. Scan the QR code. Thank you, Mr. David, for taking time out of your business schedule. The business model, ladies and gentlemen. You all have an amazing Saturday, and remember your 5 keys of wealth.
I do okay?